Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion, Will Blackman.
Manning from the end zone. He throws, and a deflect away, and it is picked off by Will Blackman, the former Giant.
Tim Dwight watches it hit, bounces, picks it up at the 10, slips a defender, fumbles the football. It's up for grabs. It's covered in the end zone by Will Blackman for a Green Bay touchdown.
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Ric Bucher.
Ric Bucher.
Welcome to another episode of Bucher and Blackman, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast Network. I'm Ric Bucher. You can see me on FS1. You can read me on Bleacher Report, and you can follow me on Twitter at Ric Bucher. He is Will Blackman, Super Bowl champ, NFL vet. You can find him on Twitter at Will Blackman. All right, Will, exciting weekend. Good weekend of sports, although I imagine only... Well, I'll take that back because I don't know if you watched the NHL Stanley Cup game.
It's the Bruins.
Bruins, yeah, of course you watched it. Being a man from New England, Rhode Island specifically. They kind of put it on the Blues, so I don't know that necessarily fit the bill. But everything else, including the heavyweight championship in boxing, which we will get to, but we start with the Warriors 109-104 win over the Raptors, tying the series at 1-1. I don't know who's going to be suiting up for the Warriors.
No idea.
Come game
everyone's
3.
Beat up right now.
And we're not talking about Kevin Durant. We're talking about just about everybody else. And I have to say, Will, I have mixed feelings about this because I said at the beginning of the year that this is what I expected. I expected it to be a battle of attrition, that Warriors one by one would go down, and whoever came out of the East was going to exploit that. And then they got the rest. They swept the Blazers. They got the rest. And I thought, okay, they can finish this. They can get this done. So I picked the Warriors in 6. I waffled, essentially. And now I don't know what I want to see happen, whether it's the Warriors battling
You want Warriors in 6. You want Warriors in 6.
I guess, but there's a part of me that, having seen this coming, having made that prediction at the beginning of the year when everybody was like, it's boring, the Warriors are going to win another one. I don't know which prediction serves me better, or not even serves me better, but just which one feels more right. So I turn
hate that.
To you.
I hate it's going to be boring. The Warriors going to win again. Like, when are people going to appreciate greatness?
Yes. Well,
like, that's hard. That's so hard.
And
I look at it from New England.
And there's always drama. They act like it's a foregone conclusion. Okay, yes. We kind of knew that they were going to beat the Cavaliers last year once they got to the finals. That they swept, even though that they swept, that said something because they put a punctuation mark on it. And they had to go to the wall to get past the Rockets. They had to have Chris Paul go down. They had to have Andre Iguodala come back. That is the drama of sport. Now, anybody can look in hindsight and say, I said they were going to win. And it's like, yeah, but the way they won was not predictable. And the way they won would suggest that it was not a foregone conclusion. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, but that's what we should just ignore those people. We should just say, you know what, go do something else. Go find some other form of entertainment because you're annoying us.
Respect greatness. It's hard. I look at the Warriors and how, everyone is just not healthy, whether it's, medical, whether it's physical or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because I look at a team like that for 82 games, obviously you can add the playoffs. They have received every single team's best shot, week in and week out, because they get off that plane or bus or driven themselves there, and that opponent is like, "Hey, we got the Warriors, and I'm trying to make a statement tonight because everyone's watching."
So that's like 100 games a year,
where they're getting
everybody's best shot.
And also, too, this game, I look at it where the Warriors, they're better in terms of like their basketball IQ. They're better basketball players as a whole. But I believe the Raptors, they are just better athletes as a whole.
Yes.
And that is exhausting because you see the how physical they are, how they're just moving everybody around, their condition, how they're able to run around and stay with everybody. It's hard. Every single shot that they took that they made today, they were fully contested until the last one. Warriors had to work for it, and it's tough. One play, Kawhi went there and ran over Bogut and Draymond Green. in terms of their, I hate using the word physicality. It's not even a real word, but it's a real word in the sports world. But man,
that was the big difference. Is that it seemed like the Raptors did not get any of the easy baskets that they did in Game 1. That the Warriors did a great job of stopping them in transition.
Starting with Pascal.
Yeah. I also felt as if, and this was the reason I picked the Warriors in 6 coming into the series, because I've seen the Raptors have these kind of offensive droughts, even with open shots. They had open looks. They had enough open looks to turn this.
Oh, the last minute and a half.
Yeah. I mean, 3 or 4 wide open threes, and they simply could not knock down one of them. And then they got to the last 2 minutes after missing 4 wide open threes in a row. And you could just tell they went, okay, let's try to get to the line. Let's try to get inside. Let's not settle for threes anymore. And they struggled because they were all trying to do that individually.
Speaking of threes, we had a conversation a while back about who you feel outside of the stars would take the final shot.
Yeah.
And I believe you were on it where you said Iggy would do it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you got to throw in Danny Green. And he had a big shot.
Your boy Danny Green at least has redeemed himself far in the finals. He's played better. Although he missed one, he had at least one wide open 3 at the end there and didn't knock it down. But he looked better. He came back from the dead in Game 1 for sure. I compared him to Bruce Bowen, the early Bruce Bowen, the Bruce Bowen who could only defend and not make shots. So it is good to see him come back. So now that you look at this, and I think you have a certain point that's accurate. It's IQ versus athleticism, or just experience, continuity versus athleticism and depth. Who do you give the nod to? Who wins 3 more games first at this stage?
Well, after watching Game 1, I was impressed with the pace and the all-out effort from the Raptors and how everyone just came to life. And I tweeted out, it would be impressive if they can keep up this pace. If the Raptors can keep up this pace, can they do this to get 4 wins? And I don't know if they can go at that pace and shoot high percentage shots. That's not in their game. That's not in their nature.
Yeah.
That's why what happened today happened. For example, to go fast and to just let it go, that's what the Warriors can do.
Right. Toronto shot 37% overall, 29% from 3-point range. That's right. And the one thing they did do, and this was a reflection again of the difference between athleticism, energy versus experience. I think they outscored them, I don't know, at least 11, maybe 14-0 in second chance points. There was one possession where they got 3 offensive rebounds and finally scored.
Had to be in the third quarter because they went off in the third.
Yeah, well, no. This was, I want to say, right down the stretch. There was another one in the fourth quarter where they had one. They had one like that. 34
assists for the Warriors, 17 for Toronto.
Yep. And I think a big function of that was, first of all, the Warriors were kind of forced into that because they were taking Steph Curry away. Yeah. And the Warriors don't have any, they don't have any one-on-one players who are going to break you down in these particular matchups outside of Steph.
Right.
So, yeah, very, very interesting. I was Scrolling here, looking for, I can find that. Fast break points. Toronto only had a 18-13 lead. I know that was vastly different in the first game. So, any event. So what was your answer? As far as who do you favor?
I still favor the Warriors.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't. I have to favor them too. The question now is, are you going to have Klay Thompson? And do you still favor them if Klay Thompson can't play in Game 3 and KD can't play in Game 3 and Kevon Looney can't play in Game 3? Do you still favor them?
I will favor the chance because they still have Steve Kerr. Okay. It's still all about coaching. What can you do?
Yeah.
So I will still favor the champs. If Steve Kerr's not coaching, then I'll be nervous.
I would say that there is an advantage there for sure. He's taken a couple of risks that have paid off handsomely. I can't believe that DeMarcus Cousins played 28 minutes.
How about that? And had a double-double, right?
Yes. Double-double, 11 points, 10 rebounds, had 6 assists. I didn't think he physically could handle that. And I'll be interested to see how he feels. I mean, here's the tricky part. Oh, we got 2 days. So next game is Wednesday. We're going to go Wednesday, Friday. So they do have 2 days, although you got to fly back from Toronto. That eats up 1 day. And I don't know, did you ever experience that? Football's a little bit different because you don't travel quite as much. But
no, the difference I was actually going to bring that up into some traveling. So once again, to answer your question, yes, I give the advantage still to the Warriors. And now Toronto has to take a 6-hour trip.
Well, the Warriors do too.
Well, yeah, they do. But yeah, exactly. But they already have.
Right.
And they do too. In the Toronto, they have to do it too. Now for us, it's different because there was no, hey, we fly over there and play. And rest a couple days. We fly over there and we play tomorrow.
Right.
Now, some teams, like I know Seattle, they would, when I was in Jacksonville, we would fly to, when we play the Raiders, we flew to San Jose and we flew early just to get our bodies adjusted.
What's early?
Maybe like we'll fly in on a Friday.
And play on a Sunday?
Yeah, does
an extra day really help you?
It does help, but it doesn't matter. And I've been on teams which Coach Coughlin is like, no, we're flying there on Saturday.
Yeah.
And we're playing on Sunday. Get some damn sleep.
I need like 2-3 days if I'm really going to change and adapt to a new time zone. But I mean, that's physically, mentally, whatever. I mean, imagine the physical state I would want to be in to be able to perform physically ideally. Obviously, with my job, I fly around all the time, and mentally I'm impaired, and physically it doesn't matter. As long as mentally I can kind of get there. But there's no doubt that it has an effect on me.
Yeah, the one time that I can really think of that had an effect on me was flying to London.
Yeah.
As a team.
No doubt.
And, they say, hey, if you go overseas, in order to catch up, you have to just stay up.
Yeah.
Don't go to sleep. Just stay up. So flying over there, and then we had all these functions and all these things to do to promote the game, and then your family's there. And I'm trying to find time where I can still study and prepare and, okay, let me at least take my wife on a date because she came all the way over here.
That's why I can't believe those are regular season games. I cannot believe they play regular season games.
I can believe it.
Why?
Money.
Yeah, okay. All right. But I mean, honestly, it is, and I guess both teams are at the same disadvantage. But it
not really.
Why?
Not if you're coming from LA.
Oh, well, if you're coming from LA, yeah,
it's a beast.
Different story. If one team's coming from New York and one team's coming from LA, granted.
Or if you're playing the Jaguars because they play every year and they're used to it.
Yeah. If there is a carryover from year to year, I need to ask you this. So KD. The rumors are, I said it at the beginning of the series, I would be surprised if he played. Okay. And that's based on what I was told, that the injury was more serious than we were led to believe. And then we had a report from Chris Haynes from Yahoo saying that he should be back mid-series possibly game 3, probably game 4. And that report came out right after game 1. He obviously sat out both of these games. I'm really
because they lost.
Well, see, that's what I thought. I assumed there was a couple things going on here. One, that KD was ready to push the envelope because they lost. And the Warriors were ready to push the envelope because the feeling like we don't think we can win this series without KD. But then the second part is, if he was going to do that, if you were aiming to have him back and you knew he couldn't play in games 1 or 2, wouldn't you leave him at home to get treatment, to rehab, to not do that cross-country flight there and back, especially with a soft tissue injury? Wouldn't you maximize your ability to have him ready for game? I thought when he went there with the injury described as it was, and he went there, I thought, okay, they're not even planning on him playing, because why would you do that? I'm still trying to figure that out.
Maybe he practiced with them. I don't know.
They don't really have a practice. He's got shots up.
I don't know. I look at maybe the person who was doing his physical therapy made the trip.
Yeah, maybe.
And he went to continue his treatment.
Maybe. Did you ever have a calf injury?
I have, yeah.
What is the...
We're football players, man. This is a different...
You've had everything.
It's just, calf injury.
What are you saying? You're not a hockey player. Don't go that far.
What you mean?
Hockey players don't even identify the injury. They just have a lower body injury.
I would say as men, yes, I think hockey players are tougher. But which sport is more dangerous? It's football. Hands down.
I don't know.
It's not even close.
You got those blades out there, man. After seeing, I forget who my man was who got nearly had his carotid artery severed when a guy's skates went up in the air.
At least when you get laid out and you hit the ice, you glide.
Yeah, okay. Until you hit the boards.
and you glide. I had this discussion with one of my trainers who was an elite hockey player in Canada. We talked about this, and he's first to be like, hockey is this and that, but then he agreed with me in that regards that, yeah, football is way more violent in terms of its collision.
Yes, I would tend to agree with that. So here's my question.
But I actually have calf muscles, okay? So if I strain one side...
You're telling this joke. I thought I was the first one. KD doesn't have calves, right?
Yeah, if I have a calf strain, I got other muscles that would help me out.
How much do you think that this could, if he plays, it will impact what he can do?
What do you mean?
Well, there's one thing to play, and then there's another thing to be able to do everything that you normally do. Or there's also the risk of re-injuring it, which I would think with a calf injury, playing basketball, high degree of that possibility. Which again, for the people who have been telling me, or the people who did not expect him to play, because I didn't go out on this limb by myself. In fact, I've checked in with a couple of those people, and they're still skeptical that he's actually going to play. Chris Haynes, I know, has a pretty good connection into the KD camp. So if he's coming out saying this, I would suspect that it's coming from, honestly, I would suspect that it's coming from KD. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that KD is not being optimistic or wishful thinking or whatever, but...
he wasn't there today, was he?
What's that?
Was he there today?
Yeah, he was there.
He was there today?
Yeah, he was there. And they had him out at practice, and he was taking shots, but he had shower sandals on. He was in socks and shower sandals. I don't count that as a workout. Although, I will say, just the fact that he's out there taking shots suggests, I don't know what it suggests.
We will see KD in Game 3.
You think we will?
We will. Why? Because he's been getting treatment for a long time, and I'm sure he's running a little bit. And there's, I'll tell you what, Rick. There's some good medicine out there, boy.
Well, yeah, but there's, and I guess this is a question I have for you. When you take that medicine, there's certain injuries where they say, and I always love when they say this: we can't do any more damage than you already have. Does a calf strain, does a calf issue fall under that category?
What?
Yeah. If you get it shot up, if you can't feel it.
Soft tissue is okay. Now when you start dealing with like bones, and cartilage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need and plus you don't Toradol, if we're talking Toradol, they give that in pill form now, so you'll be all right. You definitely don't want cortisone. You don't want none of that stuff. That's the bad one right there.
Why is that?
Because what happens is, I guess it's the old cortisone was like a fat soluble rather, and when you inject it, yes, it would relieve the pain.
Yeah.
But it would sit in there and it would eat away at your
correct.
joint.
I don't think that's the old one. I think that's why you can only take a limited number of them.
But there are water soluble. There's other ones too that you can use. But
the beauty of being an NFL player, man, you get a chem license out of it.
Oh, listen, this is hilarious. So I actually went to the doctor about 4 months ago to get like a PRP injection.
Yeah.
My knee. I have some arthritis in my knee. My knee was bugging me, and so I go to the computer and like, hey, in order for us to, okay you for this prescription, you have to check off which prescriptions you have had before. So I'm like, all right, let me see. And, I can only think of like, I had like Toradol before. I had Indocin. Those are two like powerful, like one of the strongest,
Right.
After you take those, you have to honestly get blood work to make sure your liver's okay. Like those are strong.
Wow.
I'm going down the list. I'm like, all right, this, that. I was like, Doc, I think I have taken everything on this list.
Wow.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I looked at my wife. I was like, wow, I had this. I recognized all these names came back to me of all these prescriptions. And I was like, wow.
What was the one that scared you the most that you took just because of the effect it had on you?
Toradol is the one because you honestly you don't feel anything.
Wow.
You don't.
Huh.
You don't. You're out there just Superman.
What did you take the most of?
I tried my best not to take much. I will say, the year we won the Super Bowl with the Giants, that playoff stretch, actually from the I think second to last, I think week 16 through the playoffs, I had to win every game.
A Toradol?
Oh yeah, I remember it was one game. One game I was so nervous. I just always took a leave or ibuprofen, and my knee was just killing me. And I had one of my teammates. He said, "Bro, your knee hurts?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Shoot, you better get that Toradol shot." I was like, "Nah, man, I'm good. I don't want any injections." I've seen all the stories. He's like, "Shoot, you better get that damn shot." And so I got up and I was like, "Well, let me go ask about it." So I walked over to the training room. Dude, it looked like Krispy Kreme line. That thing was out the door.
For Toradol?
What? Dude, if we dressed like 46,
yeah,
that'd be 30 guys.
Oh my goodness! See, this is where I think it gets tricky when people don't really they want to know, but they don't want to know in terms of what really goes into being able to play.
But guys are really hurt. We had, I think,
no. I
30
get
guys
that.
on IR that year.
I get that, and I think that's legit. Now, I do think there's probably guys. The first thing I thought of is there's some crazy dudes out there. They're just getting Toradol every week. They just
listen. He's gonna kill me, but when I got in line, the first person I saw was Steve Weatherford, our punter. And he is crazy.
Yeah.
He's great. I love him. I love that guy.
But this is the difficulty when we get into medical malfeasance by NFL teams. Like the player, I've always felt like if you're a player, you want to suit up. And if you're going to be responsible from the NFL standpoint, then you have to protect a player so that his livelihood is not on the line. Because otherwise, most every guy is going to look at it and say, I want to play. I want to keep my job. I want to get paid. What do I have to take to be able to do that? I understand why anybody would make that choice to say, now I'm going to sit this one out. Okay, you know what? You might be sitting out the rest of your freaking career at home on the couch.
Right, because at the end of the day, they are watching the film with no notes.
Right.
They don't know what happened before. Right. They don't know what's wrong with you. You may have something. You may have an injury, but you're on the field and they're watching that day.
Right.
And that's what it is. Like every week, we're just trying to make it to Sunday. Can I be healthy for Sunday?
Right.
Because once we line up, not even so much for the executives and the game, but the fans, you're out there. You're 100%.
Right. So I get that. And much of what you just shared goes to the heart of that. Guys are doing what they need to do. I think the doctors are in a difficult position, but I believe that the league ultimately has to be responsible and has to give guys a way to protect themselves without having to take something and then compound the problem. Because if you're taking stuff when you're hurt, when you're injured in order to play, the chances of you doing long-term damage, I don't know what the percentage is, but it has to go through the roof. Has to. And guys shouldn't be forced to make that choice in their livelihood. I know fans really don't care. They believe, in fact, Andre Iguodala and I just had this conversation, where fans have this idea of, you got to do it like the old days, play with broken bones, play in the Chuck Taylors, don't, treatment, do it. That's what a man does. You're making millions of dollars. You should sacrifice your long-term health. Because what? Because you're getting paid? Because you're getting paid a fair sum based on what the sport produces these days. And if you complain, then you're not a man.
What's crazy is you can get released while you're injured.
Yes, I know. In football, it's unbelievable.
And
unbelievable.
You come up with a settlement.
Yeah, but what leverage do you have?
None.
Yeah, they do you side that if the team is, and I'm sure there's no league rule in terms of what the settlement has to be or a minimum or anything like that, right?
That I don't know, but it's crazy that you could be hurt and get released.
Yeah, no, I've Hard Knocks, they've mentioned it a couple times, where guys that are trying to make the team and they have a hamstring or they do something, they hurt themselves in that last game, and next thing they know, they're being waived. That's tough. That's just that's not fair. It's just not fair. Not fair to make people make that choice. All right. Have to get to the other topic of the day, which is in your wheelhouse.
In my wheelhouse.
Indeed. And that is Andy Ruiz Jr. upsetting Anthony Joshua for the heavyweight boxing championship. What is it now? Is it unified or which one was it?
It was for the IBF, the WBL, the WBA. It's for all those.
Okay, so it's all four.
Yeah.
He's not missing one. He's got all four.
No, because Deontay Wilder.
That's right.
He has one too.
I'm exposing my lack of boxing knowledge right now.
He has the WBC, the World Boxing Council. So there is no unified right now.
Okay. This is what bothered me. One of the things that bothered me, because I first became aware of this with a Stephen A. Smith tweet that was blasting Anthony Joshua for losing to Andy Ruiz, who he called a butterbean. And if you've seen Andy Ruiz, he doesn't have the kind of physique that you normally associate with heavyweight champions or champions of any kind, to be honest. But if you watch him box, watching him box in this match, he's got unbelievably quick hands.
First of all, when it comes to boxing, with all due respect, don't listen to Stephen A.
Yeah.
He's fresh in the boxing game. Okay? And he could call him a butterbean. But Butterbean was 77-10. Butterbean had damn near 60 knockouts.
Well, but here's the thing. Even if you don't know the history of Andy Ruiz, to watch that fight or to watch him fight and to suggest that this is like the Mike Tyson Buster Douglas, where Mike Tyson came in, wasn't taking it seriously. I don't know if you want to say Buster Douglas got a lucky shot or took advantage. Ruiz, in what I saw, Ruiz can box. Like, am I miscasting what Ruiz is capable of doing?
No, he definitely can. That's what's funny is, so there was one picture at the weigh-in, I think the Zone, they posted. And sure enough, yeah, you saw Anthony Joshua, he looked like
he's Adonis.
Exactly, he's Adonis. And then you look at Ruiz and he looked like, the guy who just, installed our solar panels. That's what he had on.
Dude, I don't know if you'd want him up on your roof, to be honest with you. I think he's probably he's probably installing water heaters.
Yeah, and he did. But once again, the guy's a pro boxer. He's 33-1 now, 32-1 before he fought. He had 22 knockouts, dude. And then if you watch his workout, you're like, dude, the dude got hands. He's a good athlete. And here's the thing about heavyweight boxing. You do not have to look like Anthony Joshua to look like the best fighter.
Right.
Because frankly, Anthony Joshua was not in great shape, cardio-wise, because he definitely got tired.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to look like Anthony Joshua because it's heavyweight and it just takes one big hit. You just got to throw heat and bombs.
Well, that was the thing too, is that, and I've always taken exception to this. Bartolo Colon, same way. People make fun of Bartolo Colon. That is one hell of an athlete.
Right.
Bartolo Colon is one hell of an athlete because, and I don't care what the form or the weight. There's a certain movement, mobility, agility, elasticity that I think it's actually more impressive when big guys are able to move that way because they're having to move more poundage.
Right.
If that's a word. More pounds, more weight. And so I felt the same thing. What bothered me is if you watch Ruiz box, he looks like an athlete.
Yes.
If you just look at his body standing there, you'd say, what is that guy? He's a water heater installer. But if you see him move and throw hands, you instantly go, "Oh, damn, he's got something."
He is.
That was the, you know what? I felt like Stephen A. was appealing to his base.
Yeah.
They want to hear the New Yorker get all outraged about something.
Yeah, of course.
We can be a little smarter than that. This was just a cheap shot at a guy who, by the way, now holds 4 heavyweight champion titles.
Yep.
Wrong. Totally wrong. Anything to add?
No, I just think that for me, with that fight, yes, wasn't an upset, no doubt about it. I mean, if you bet $100 on that fight, you probably won $15,000. Definitely was a huge upset. Was I surprised? I picked Anthony Joshua.
Okay.
And I had him in 6. Granted, he was going to take care of business, do what he had to do. Was I surprised? I was actually not surprised because I still believed that the jury was out on Anthony Joshua. Yes, he had that impressive win over Vladimir Klitschko, who, was on his way out, and that was a fantastic fight. I mean, he got knocked down. Anthony Joshua came back and ended up knocking out Klitschko. So that was impressive. But I think the jury was still out because he is the international star. So all the hype was about him. Everything was about him. We were waiting for someone to really take him through it. Now, for me, yeah, I love Deontay Wilder because he's scary like that. He's scary like how Tyson was. Like if Anthony Ruiz knocked out Deontay Wilder, I would have been like, oh, SHIT. I would have been blown away.
Okay. Because this is a little bit different than that.
Oh, yeah, it's different because that was the attitude Tyson had. I mean, Deontay Wilder, before his last fight, he said, I love this sport. This is the only sport where you can kill a man and not go to jail. So yeah, something along that. He said that before the fight. And I remember the other was talking all his nonsense, ready to fight Deontay Wilder, Dominic Breazeale. And I mean, he came out round 1, took him out. That's what he does. 41 wins.
Yeah.
40 knockouts.
So did you see what Deontay Wilder said about Anthony Joshua?
I did.
And?
Hey, man, you can't quit.
For those who may not have seen it, Deontay Wilder tweeted out, he wasn't a true champion. His whole career was consistent of lies, contradictions, and gifts. Facts. And now we know who was running from who. Hashtag till this day.
Right. He's been trying to get that fight.
Yeah.
Deontay's been trying to get that fight. No, not yet. No, not yet. No, yet. Hey, you know what? Let me go fight in the States to try to like show people what I can do.
Yeah.
You know, and then, he went and took his $1 million. He has an immediate rematch clause, so they're going to fight in the UK. Andy Ruiz is going to fight him again back there. So now maybe for us it was, maybe for me it was, but probably back if I was from the UK, maybe that would be on the scale of Tyson Buster Douglas to me, because he was like, he's the guy. We finally have a heavyweight champion since Lennox Lewis, I guess.
I'm going back before we wrap up. I keep going back to my thoughts keep going back to you believing the Warriors will prevail no matter what. And in tomorrow's podcast, we'll get into this more because we'll have some updates on the injuries with Kevon and with Clay. And no doubt we'll have an update on KD and his availability. I would imagine I'm waiting for an update on DeMarcus Cousins too. If Klay Thompson can't go, and even if KD comes back, if you're trading them out, I don't know that it's enough. I know that Toronto lacks the experience, but if they can get a split, in Golden State and go back 2-2, I think they win Game 5 in Toronto. And then whether it's Game 6 or it's Game 7, I could see this flipping the other way. Because I just think you have to ride, like you have to play DeMarcus Cousins 28 minutes. Can you really play him multiple games, 20 minutes at this stage? Andre Iguodala felt it again in Game 2. That attrition, I think they're going to go down swinging. I think they're going to look like what's his name? Tom Hanks.
How do you forget Tom Hanks?
Anyhow, I couldn't forget him. I could see him. I could name all of his movies. Just blanking on the name. When he's on the bridge and the tank's coming and he's got the pistol and he just keeps shooting and he's already mortally wounded.
Okay.
That's what I feel like we're going to see with the Warriors. They're not going to give up. They're going to fight
Queen
to the
Latifah
end.
And set it off.
What's that?
I said, or like Queen Latifah in the movie Set It Off.
I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, for those who haven't seen Saving Private Ryan, you probably saw Set It Off.
What? You saw one or the other? Are we covering the full spectrum?
What happened was she was surrounded by the police, and it ended up being a standoff, and she just unloaded all the clips, and she didn't survive.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to think of the end of Training Day. That's the same thing in Training Day?
Well, listen, we already got 2 movies. We're good.
All right. Yeah. Let's not go too far down that road. Fair enough. All right. That does it for this episode. Yes.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I was going to add my piece to what they did, though. You notice how aggressive Toronto was in the first game, so they used that in the second game, and that's why a lot of guys were in foul trouble.
The game was also called a little bit different. I thought there were some tough calls, especially in the first half.
Especially the one of Kyle Lowry on the fast break with Klay Thompson. He didn't even touch him.
Yeah. No, it was a great call. There was a couple where the whistle was blown and the referee's view was obstructed. They called it because there was a play at the rim and they thought there was contact. And the basic rule is call what you see.
Yep.
Now, when things are at this level and things are really heated, basically there's also the idea of we can't let too much contact go because things are going to get out of hand. And so they're quick with the whistle on that. And they're quick to establish things because of that. Toronto got a tough whistle in Game 2. We'll see how they respond in Game 3. All right. Now, that does it for this episode of Bucher and Blackman, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast Network. Thank you for the ratings. I am not going to take responsibility for the fact that we have not given out the prizes yet. I'm going to put that on John Libby, our producer. He's the one who does the drawing. He's the one who lets me know where I need to send the prizes. So, Libby, I'm calling you out. It's on you. Our listeners now know that before we can move on to the next set of prizes, you need to declare a winner for the ones that are out there, which is basically our Game of Zones package. In any event, we will get to that. I assume we'll get that in the next 24 hours because that's the way Libby rolls. But you can still, wherever you get your podcasts, rate us, send a screenshot of that rating to @BucherFriends, and you'll be eligible to win either this prize or the next one. In the meantime, as always, thanks for listening.